I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I knew it. I love when he does that.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Adrenaline in my soul, something, something, Cody Rhodes. I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
Time. But let me go ahead and tell you.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 454 of the Hoots Podcast here. It's yours truly, the nefarious but Adam, Joshie Lopez here on this Friday, February 28th, 2025. One last day to go here in the month of February as we breeze through to March. So, very windy day here in Chicago, pun intended. Hope everybody's doing well. We've got a lot to discuss here on the podcast this week. I don't know how long this episode's going to be, but I'll just go through this monologue quickly, and then we'll do This Week in WWE, because we got to get to what's taking place tomorrow in Toronto, Canada. My bad, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We have the Elimination Chamber, the Chamber of Elimination, so we'll be making predictions for that. No. So look into that. Get your questions for the Back Porch Q&A session, and then call it a day. We are on the road to 500 episodes, so that means we are 46 episodes away from the final edition of the Hoots Podcast, and lots of stuff to get to. Like I said, also don't forget to hit the like button and smash the subscribe button on YouTube. That help expand the reach show around the world to 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Right now we're at 545, so I appreciate each and every single one of you who are subscribed to the channel. Also, pretty close to getting to the 1.9 million mark on Spotify for creators. So, just pretty freaking cool, man. I really do appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart for supporting this show. And it means a lot to me. So as we are in our final chapter of the podcast now, I just want, if we could get to 2 million before we have our final episode, I'll be a happy man. That'll be awesome. But anyways, before we get to This Week in WWE, just some quick thoughts on my head, and just let you all know what I've been up to, stuff like that. Pretty excited. Get a new lookout for my schedule next week, because starting Wednesday, I'll have a new show to cover, which is called Evolve, WWE Evolve, which will be on Tubi on Wednesday nights. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Nice little addition to the schedule. So looking forward to that. And just over the last couple of days or so, not more, a couple of weeks, I've been rewatching again The Last Dance. Kind of need some sorts of motivation and stuff like that, so it's been nice getting to rewatch that on Netflix. And the fact that it is exclusive on Netflix now, I'll always be able to get to watch it whenever I want or need the motivation for it. So it's pretty cool. I watched Last Dance kind of as a morning routine type of thing. Once I'm done with my walks, kind of get my outlook towards the big picture from a right point of view, and kind of gleam and like heat off of the stuff that Michael Jordan was expressing and how he went about his business. So, all in all, I always get some nice added motivation anytime I watch The Last Dance. It's probably my favorite documentary of all time, and it's really good. If you've never watched it when it first came out during the pandemic, go out your way to check it out on Netflix. It's really, really good. Besides that, I guess everything else is fine on my end. Like, things are good here at the apartment. Not ideally where I want to be right now. Some stuff is missing in my life, but, besides that, like, I think that, the outlook for the future looks pretty bright from here, I guess. We'll have to see how that goes. But just taking this one day at a time, and I appreciate y'all for still supporting my articles and stuff like that, and the podcast as well. So Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, if you like, you can. It's at the Hoots Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music, and that's pretty much it. We drop these episodes of the Hoots Podcast each and every single week on a Friday. It's free of charge. We'll never charge anybody any money to listen to this podcast. So, again, thank you all. When we come back, we'll get to what happened this week in WWE, and get into some of these predictions and stuff for the Elimination Chamber. A lot of pontifications and analysis out there about what's going to happen in Toronto, Canada. I'll give you my thoughts and predictions for the show as a whole. Talk a little bit about NXT as well, and then get into the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 454 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. Yeet. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Just going to keep it pretty simple and brief this week. Go into my preview and predictions for the Elimination Chamber, and then also we'll talk about NXT, what's going on there. We've got a big show coming up at the theater in Madison Square Garden a week from Tuesday. NXT Roadblock, so we'll get into that as well. But today, you guys are here to hear my thoughts about what's going to take place at the Elimination Chamber. So much bugaboo coming out of the week from The Rock's appearance on SmackDown in New Orleans. So we'll talk about that and what's to come with Cody Rhodes and him, since they're due to have a talking segment. And looks like, this could have some really big seismic, waves into what we shall see in Vegas for WrestleMania. A lot of things are up in the air right now. I know a lot of people have their pontifications and conspiracies about what's going to happen at this show. I'm excited just as much as anybody else is to see it. I'm excited for the crowd in Toronto. It's always fun to do these stadium type of shows. So, the thing about this, WrestleMania 18 was in Toronto for 2002. I was 8 years old. So, here we are, 23 years later, and it's pretty cool. I'm really excited for this show coming up on tomorrow as I'm recording this on a Friday. And tonight we have SmackDown at the Scotiabank Arena. Some pretty cool stuff on tap. And here we go. So let's do this backwards and forwards towards the main event. I'm going to start off here with Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton taking on Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. A nice little homecoming moment here for Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton. I think they get a victory over Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. That's how I go for it. Nice little homecoming match. Nice match, breather type of match in between some of these bigger contests. Tiffany Stratton is scheduled to battle Charlotte Flair for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. I'm pretty excited for the match. This is kind of, I guess, maybe one last hurdle for Tiffany to move away from Nia Jax. Nia's been kind of like a pest. Tiffany can't focus on Charlotte because Nia's always sticking her nose in her business. Bada boom, bada bing. Let it move on, and Tiffany can focus on Charlotte Flair after this match is over. From there, we go to the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which has Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. A lot of different parameters here of what's to go down for who's going to fight Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 41. A lot of people have a lot of thoughts, obviously, of where things could go. Heard a podcast yesterday saying that the state of the women's division is in peril and that it's being booked bad. I'm not going to waste my time and energy trying to debunk that opinion. There's so much clutter and non-substance takes amongst these podcasts in the wrestling space that I just don't want to lose any IQ points and waste any energy on it. NXT just had a pay-per-view, Vengeance Day, that was headlined and main evented by the women. This past Monday on Raw, we had the main event for the women's tag team titles. I wouldn't be shocked if Monday, when it's Rhea Ripley and Io Sky for the Women's World Championship, that's going to be main eventing the show. Lyra Valkyria gets weekly television time and has pretty lengthy matches. Chelsea Green, one of the best character wrestlers in the industry, gets showcased every single week. We still have the angle with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Charlotte Flair just came back. So I just like how, because the IWC is butthurt over the fact that Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble, that means that the entire women's division sucks. Again, I'm just not going to waste my breath and energy on it because it's so stupid. Like, this is the thing from my point of view as the guy who actually covers these shows and has to do everything step by step and write down the moves and the dialogue. Like, I'm just tired of the surface level conversation when you're not actually paying attention to what's going on. They get spotlighted a lot. So this whole thing where we're getting these reports from Fightful and that, they're not getting enough TV time and they're frustrated with the booking and blah, 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 blah. Great. I'm glad to hear what Kaden Carter and Katana Chance and Mia Yim had to spill out to Sean Ross Sapp. Great. I can give two shits. Look at this match in the field that we have here for this women's Elimination Chamber match. It's freaking awesome. You got Liv, sexy. Bianca Belair, one of a kind. Alexa Bliss, great on the eyes. Bayley, a veteran of the Chamber match. Same thing with Naomi. We got the newcomer, Roxanne Perez. This one could go many other directions. I think you can make a case for all of them. But here's my deal. I think that Bianca Belair is going to turn on Naomi in this match. Bianca will be revealed as the one who attacked Jade Cargill. So my pick for this match, for me, is going to be Bayley. I think either Bayley or Alexa Bliss sneaks out of this chamber with the victory, and they'll go after Rhea Ripley. I'm going with Bayley because I wouldn't mind seeing Liv win. Don't get me wrong. I guess you could have that final conclusion with this long rivalry with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan at WrestleMania. The only way I see that happening is if Dominic Mysterio is causing the direct outcome of the match. But I think for me, personally, I think Bayley is going to fight Rhea Ripley. Unless Roxanne Perez. That's the thing. This is so up in the air right now that really, for me, like my top three of who could win this match realistically is either Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, or Bayley. I think it's too obvious. They're not putting it out on television, but it's more and more obvious to me as the weeks go by that Bianca Belair is responsible for what happened to Jade Cargill. They just lost the tag titles on Raw this Monday. We'll see if they have any interaction tonight on SmackDown. But knowing Bianca Belair and how big her ego is, especially going into WrestleMania season, it's going to make it about her, and it's eventually going to cost them the match. So for me, like I said, I'm stuck between Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, and Bayley as my winners for the Women's Elimination Chamber match. That's the great thing. This is so up in the air that it's not predictable. I'm just excited to see how this plays out, honestly. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, an unsanctioned match. This is going to be fantastic. I've been lucky enough to be in attendance for some really big Sami and KO moments in person over the years. The tremendous match that they had at Payback in Chicago in 2016. I was at that one. I actually got to see Sami and Kevin Owens' first WrestleMania singles match with each other, which is WrestleMania 37, the pandemic one in Tampa. I got to go to that one, which was pretty cool, hanging out with my guy Andrew Baydala. Here we are all these years later, tales all this time, all worlds the stage. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in an unsanctioned match. This is just going to be sheer anarchy, and I'm here for it. So, as far as this one is concerned, I'm going with Sami Zayn all the way in this one. I got Sami winning this one, and thanks to help from Randy Orton. I think Sami Zayn wins, and Orton gives KO a punt. Or maybe Randy saves that for WrestleMania. We'll have to see. But I'm going with Sami Zayn to get the big victory here over Kevin Owens. I know Kevin was bummed for the fact that he wasn't able to participate in the Elimination Chamber PLE that was in Montreal a couple years ago. Now that they're back in Canada, in Toronto, these guys are going to tear the house down, and it's going to be fucking awesome. So, before we get to the main event, we should talk about The Rock and Cody Rhodes and this decision of whether or not Cody should give his soul to The Rock and become his corporate champion. I typed out the entire segment with The Rock and Cody Rhodes last week on SmackDown from New Orleans. Some people said it went too long. Some people said it made no sense. Some people are just bitching just to bitch, which is it just a lot of opinions, and just it comes to the same usual suspects. It's the Dave Meltzers of the world that come with the most stupid, convoluted ways to make The Rock look like this horrible person behind the scenes at TKO, and all these stupid shit. Oh, supposedly people backstage are upset because The Rock is now advertised on the Elimination Chamber posters. No fucking shit. No shit, he would be on the advertisement. No shit. So, it's so stupid, man. I'm intrigued because it's got everybody talking. We got Dave LaGreca once again trying to go chase the hug and beg and plead for The Rock to appear on Busted Open for 5 minutes. I love LaGreca. I've been a Busted Open Nation supporter since day one. But God, man, when it comes to The Rock, he gets really, really fucking annoying, man. And his smart mark shit comes out each and every single time. I want at least a nuanced conversation about The Rock. If you don't like him anymore, if you don't find his act appealing anymore, I can understand that. But the mental gymnastics and hurdles and all these different things we try to attach him to point out where The Rock is such this horrible thing to the current WWE landscape, and The Rock's all about himself. Well, hey, bringing up the fact that The Rock has an ego is like saying water is wet. No fucking shit. The Rock has an ego. They all have egos. That's why I saw through the whole Yes-O-Mania crap with Danny Bryan. Oh, he's a babyface and he's so genuine. That guy has a big ego too. They all have egos. They're professional wrestlers. Oh, I don't want The Rock sticking his nose into WrestleMania business because he's going to make it all about himself. He's The Rock. And whether you like him or not, he draws business and money, which is what the end game is of professional wrestling in the first place. We're not here for a popularity contest. We're not here for some fucking moral fucking convention. We're not here to appease sensitive ass sissy marks on Twitter. And what part of this with Cody does not make sense? Did we not forget the interaction that they had the night after WrestleMania? Oh, The Rock turned babyface and heel just so many times like the Big Show. God, how many times have I heard that on a fucking wrestling talk show this week? Oh my God, The Rock made so many heel turns. Oh my God, I thought the Big Show was out there. The final boss is a great area character. He can do what he wants because he's the final boss. You never had a condescending boss who likes to play babyface and, try to say compliments and then switch a gear like that? I haven't seen anything different. If anything, there's maybe more of like a mafia boss type of thing with him asking Cody for his soul. I thought The Rock's reasoning was fair and, trying to have a truce from what they went through with each other last year going into WrestleMania 40. This year, he's trying to keep people on their toes, and people just want to rush to conclusions of, oh, this is going to be a way for The Rock to insert himself as the seventh guy in the men's Elimination Chamber match, and all these other freaking conspiracy theories. Watch the damn show! I love the interaction that Cody had with Seth Rollins this week on Raw. I thought it was fantastic. Curious to see what happens with them tonight. For whatever reason, SmackDown's a 3-hour show, but they freaking scrambled to announce shit for SmackDown. The only thing I know tonight is that LA Knight's fighting Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. Championship. They haven't announced anything else for the freaking show tonight. But I look at the scenario, it's got everybody talking. How will this decision affect what happens in the main event? Does this segment happen after the men's elimination chamber? Does this happen before the men's elimination chamber? Does anything between Cody and Rock implement the final decision in said match? Does something in the men's elimination chamber happen that can prey-tail into the decision that goes on with Cody Rhodes and The Rock? I don't know. But I'm curious as fuck about it. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. But oh my god, man, the freaking mental gymnastics that's been going on this week about The Rock. And, oh, this doesn't make sense. And then the Seltzers of the world and the Graham Matthews of the world. And oh my god, it makes my head want to explode. Watch the show. You'll figure it out then. I don't believe that Cody is going to accept The Rock's offer. How I see this playing out is this. Cody Rhodes will deny The Rock's offer. Then it goes to the main event. This is how I have this men's chamber match playing out, because this is really going to map into what's going to go down at WrestleMania. Okay? This is how I go about it. Drew McIntyre will eliminate Damian Priest. They'll get into a kerfuffle. I think Drew McIntyre and that Priest match is actually still going to take place at WrestleMania, so I still think that's going to happen. The only scenario that I see Drew McIntyre not fighting Damian Priest is if he fights John Cena. I would love to see maybe a talking segment between those guys. And let me play this for you guys, because Drew did a promo about John Cena this week on his social media account. I think you guys should hear this. Hold on, let me find it for you guys. I swear he put it on here. Either that or on Instagram, unless he deleted it. Oh, I'm looking at it for you guys. Just give me a second. Drew McIntyre. Yeah, he deleted it. Ah, bastard. He had this really good promo saying you would like to see John Cena at the show. I guess WWE had him take it down. Damn, that sucks. I was going to go into this whole spiel of how it can work with Drew McIntyre and John Cena at WrestleMania. I would love to see that, but I don't think that's going to happen. So this is how I see it playing out. Drew McIntyre will eliminate Damian Priest. Logan Paul will eliminate John Cena. I think Logan gets his revenge on John Cena when he least expected. Seth Rollins takes out Drew McIntyre. I believe Roman Reigns comes out and costs Seth Rollins the chamber once Drew is out. And then the final two would be Logan and Punk. And Punk will defeat Logan Paul. And CM Punk will go on to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. So this is how I got it going here. Write this down. McIntyre eliminates Priest. Alright. Logan takes out John Cena. I have Seth taking out Drew McIntyre. I got Roman helping Roman attacking Seth Rollins. Either Punk or Logan will take advantage of that. And then I got Punk defeating Logan Paul at the end to win the Elimination Chamber. So I got CM Punk winning the Elimination Chamber. So that's my predictions and preview for the Elimination Chamber. No. Alright. Before we get to our final segment here, I do want to talk a little bit about NXT Roadblock, which is taking place at the theater at Madison Square Garden. We had this really big episode of NXT that just took place in Cincinnati this past Tuesday on CW. Lexis King and Moose tore the house down for the X Division Championship for TNA. So it's been a while since I did a match that had that TNA title on the line. I looked back at my website today, ProWrestlingTranscription.com. The last time, and this is a little story about what's been going on with my situation. It was the end of January of 2023. It was right when the budget cut stuff started. That was the last time that I was covering AEW, Impact, AEW, TNA, New Japan, and MLW at the same time. And the NWA too. So think about that. 5 extra shows that I was missing out. So I haven't really covered TNA for a very long time. The fact that they have this partnership now with them and NXT is great because I missed covering TNA. It was a fun Thursday tradition that I had. I enjoyed doing it. The pay-per-views were always good. I enjoyed covering TNA for what it was, and it was fun. So to get to see Moose in the spotlight now on the WWE television show is pretty freaking cool. But Moose will be taking on Obafemi for the NXT Championship on that event at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Hardy's, another good match with no quarter catch crew on Tuesday. If you haven't checked out NXT, go all your way to see it. By the way, shout out to Stephanie Van Kerr. She's number 1 on the waterfall list this week. The Hardy Boys will be putting their TNA World Tag Team titles on the line against Fraxium. That's going to be awesome. And then, big match announced here was Julia against Stephanie Van Kerr. It's a winner-takes-all match for the NXT Women's Championship and the NXT Women's North American Championship. So, pretty pumped about that show, NXT Roadblock. In New York City. I think they used that theater at Madison Square Garden for the NFL Draft, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day. So it's been a while since I've seen that particular venue. You guys remember that Ring of Honor New Japan show that they had at Madison Square Garden during that WrestleMania weekend? That was pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited for this show as a whole. NXT's been putting out some barn burners, man, and some really good content over the last couple of months, and Shawn Michaels is really the chef. He really is. If I have to pick, I'm not really into the whole Booker, this type of crap. That dialogue doesn't interest me. But if I had to make my pick for my favorite Booker in wrestling today, it would probably be Shawn Michaels, honestly. But on that note, that is what happened this week in WWE. I'm excited to cover the Elimination Chamber tomorrow. Make sure to check out my coverage as I do each and every single week on WrestlingHeadlines.com in the results section, which is Raw, SmackDown, NXT, now Evolve starting on Wednesdays, and all NXT and main roster PLEs. So make sure to check that out on WrestlingHeadlines.com in the results section. And that's pretty much it. But when we come back, we'll answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session. And we'll be right back right here on episode 454 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. Yeet. All right. One more segment to do here on the podcast at Hoots this week. trying to answer for your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session. All you have to do is hit me up on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Throw up the X for the good brother Chris Zaletta at XAinZaletta24X on the Twitter machine. Let's check it out. Let's see what Chris has for us this week. Chris says here, what up, Moose? Here's the question for the Q&A this week. Which match are you looking forward to the most for the Elimination Chamber? I'm going to go with the main event. I'm going to go with the men's Elimination Chamber. I'm just kind of curious to see where all these things are going to lead into WrestleMania. So it's kind of unpredictable. I don't really know who's going to win. I know a lot of people are saying that it's just going to be John Cena and that it's a foregone conclusion. I'm still going with CM Punk, but I'm excited for the chaos, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. Where will Matt Stafford be playing next year? Well, I saw this right before I started recording the podcast this week that the Rams are going to restructure things and help him stay with the Rams, which, in my opinion, makes too much sense. He's already had such a foundation with that group, and they were in the NFC playoffs last year and gave the Eagles a run for their money, so I don't know why they would get rid of Stafford now. I don't know if him going to Pittsburgh or something like that would elevate their team or anything like that, but gives Matt Stafford a chance to finish out his career with the Rams, which is fine by me. No harm, no foul. Is Trick Williams on the verge of crashing out and turning? Well, it seems like that. He's been acting out of pocket for a while now. So we'll see how he hasn't cut a promo in front of the fans. He's just been like snapping and just acting passive aggressive backstage. I don't know what's going on with Trick. I really don't. If he turns heel, that'd be unfortunate, but we'll see how that plays out. Thoughts on the recent playoffs in layoffs? Like I said last week, I feel bad about the releases and all of that, but really this is just part of any industry. I'm not coming on here looking at this from a callous point of view. I never want to see people lose their jobs, but that's just comes with these type of territories. It's going to happen. There's something you can do about it. So that's my thoughts on it. And I hope everybody that did get laid off will have an opportunity to get an opportunity in all these different promotions out there. It's a great time to be in the industry, and the world's their oyster, if you will. Will both the IC and US titles at Mania be multi-man matches? That's a good question. I don't think the IC title will be multi-man. If anything, it's going to be Braun Breaker against Finn Balor or Braun Breaker against Penta. That's my guess there. Or maybe Sheamus gets one final shot at Braun Breaker and maybe puts his career on a... We haven't seen Sheamus on TV in a while, which should be interesting. I think Braun Breaker and Sheamus get one last match at WrestleMania and Sheamus puts his career on the line. I know he signed a new contract, but you can make it work storyline-wise. Relax. I do think the United States title will probably be in a ladder match. Makes sense. So we'll see how that goes. And then for the women's IC US belts, we'll have to see how that plays out because I have no idea who's fighting who for either titles for the women's side. Thoughts on the Vancouver Julia title for time match? Excited for it. I don't know if I wanted a triple threat match with all three and Jordy Grace at Stand and Deliver. I think it would have been better just to have a one-on-one match. So I'm fine with this being a title for title match, and we'll see how it plays out. Are we heading towards Jacob and God turning on Solo? Yes. 100% yes. Thoughts on Carmella's future? Look, same thing like I said earlier. I think the world's her oyster too. She's a beautiful woman. She can do great things in the entrepreneurial space. I think that she has a lot of things going for her. She's a great person. I think she'd be a good businesswoman. If she still wants to do stuff in wrestling, she can. I wouldn't be surprised if she does go back to WWE one day. I don't think anything is certain right now. I loved the podcast that she did with Corey Graves, the Bear With Us podcast, the couples podcast. I thought that was really good. And I think the future is bright for her. I really do. Your top 5 favorite transcripts you have done. Man, that's a great question, man. There's some New Japan in there. There's some, obviously there's some WWE stuff in there. God. I'm going to do this with shows instead of matches because it's going to be too hard. I can't give you a top 5 matches that I transcribed. There's been so many that I've done over the years, so that's a great question, Chris. I really do appreciate that. I think for me, as I look back on the shows that I covered, fuck, man. That takeover that was in which one? Takeover in hold on, let me look. you got me all flustered now, Chris. Just 1 second. Yeah, the one in New York at the Barclays Center, WrestleMania weekend with Walter and Pete Dunne, the War Raiders against Aleister Black and Ricochet for the tag titles was fantastic. But if you haven't seen Walter against Pete Dunne for the UK Championship for that takeover in New York, that was fucking phenomenal. And then, of course, the Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Championship. That was one of my favorite matches that I got to transcribe and stuff like that. So that takeover of New York WrestleMania weekend was fantastic. Of course, WrestleMania 40 last year was cool. I didn't get to cover WrestleMania 39, which sucked. The show did some, but it sucked. I didn't get a chance to cover. That's what I'm saying. What else? Definitely, I'll say Wrestle Kingdom, the last Wrestle Kingdom I did, which was in 2023. So that one was a sentimental one to me. So I got to do that one, which was Jay White and Okada, Omega and Ospreay for the U.S. Championship. IWGP U.S. Championship match was fantastic. Really enjoyed that one. Did mention WrestleMania 40, did that. You know what? Clash of the Castle was a fun one that I did. That PLE, the first one, the Clash of the Castle, back in 2022. That was good. What else I could pick? There was a couple really good TNA ones that I did where there was an empty crowd. Wherever that one was with Kenny Omega and Rich Swann, that show was fucking fantastic. There was some really good TNA ones I did. AEW-wise, I think probably Wrestle Dream, the first Wrestle Dream, I covered that one live. Also, one of the All Outs in Chicago was really good too. There's just so many to pick from, bro. I don't want to hem and awe here, but like, you know, NXT, like all the NXT UK takeover PLEs were fantastic. Each and every single one of them. Just collectively, of course, would be the Cruiserweight Classic. Get to do that. Everything, doing it live in real time, doing that. Lucha Underground. I have so many to choose from, but those are the ones that really stand out the most to me, honestly. But on that note, we're going to put a rib on the boat on this week's edition of the Hoots Podcast. I want to thank each and every single one of you for supporting the show. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast, at Instagram at Josh Lopez Music. Make sure to check out my coverage of WWE each and every single week on the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com. And ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com is still up and open if you guys still want to check it out. But on that note, for everybody, I'm Joshie. Remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. Remember, nobody dictates and pays your life but yourself and the man upstairs. Don't forget to follow and stream the podcast on Spotify. That's really the best way to support this podcast, is to stream the podcast through Spotify. So I appreciate y'all. Follow the pod on Spotify, please. And make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube as well. So, I'm Joshie. This has been episode 454 of the Hoots Podcast, as the road to episode 500 continues. And have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Make sure to enjoy the Elimination Chamber, and we'll be here to recap it next week on the podcast at Hoots. Yeet.
Bye-bye, bitch.